Hi, I'm Jet. I'm running for President of Welfare Inclusivity this year. I study music, theatre and entertainment management course.
I'm a third-year student studying politics and international relations with French and Spanish, and I fence as well.
I'm Amy. I did study my undergraduate in geography on the Penryn campus, but I'm now doing my master's with Exeter at the Truro campus in environment and human health.
Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte Agnew and I am a TV graduate.
I'm Kate McIntyre. I'm currently a third year theatre and performance student in Amata.
My name's Emma and I'm a fourth year zoology student.
My name is Hannah Lim and I'm in my third year of popular music.
I have over 20 houseplants. I don't know if that's interesting to everyone, but for some people it might be very interesting. I'm very very green.
I'm deadly allergic to chocolate, to cocoa. That's my interesting fact. Or that's not very cool though. Can I say I play drums?
I have my grade 3 singing qualification.
I'm hard of hearing and I've got hearing aids in both ears. I think that normally surprises people because I'm quite vocal.
When I was 6 to 9 roughly, I lived in South Africa for a bit, which was great fun. And taught me a lot about other cultures.
When I was younger, I somehow ended up with a pet sheep. My neighbour just knocked on my door one day and he said, "Oh, I've got this lamb. Do you want to look after it?" And yeah, then we ended up with one sheep. Then we got another sheep because then we needed some company.
During the first lockdown, I impulsively bought a 2-metre square foot of land in Scotland. I don't know the technicalities of it, but it apparently technically makes me a lady.
When I was for the 3 years in here at Falmouth University, I felt very underrepresented because for all the 3 years of my study, there was no international students in the president elections or anything. There might have been someone around, but no one actually ever won. So, I want to be the change that I want to see in the system. And I also want to make some improvements, especially in the welfare section of the uni, because I struggle with my mental health myself in my first year and my second year. And even though I could receive some really good help, there's many things that could be improved. For example, 6 weeks limit period on counselling.
I wasn't intending to run for welfare and inclusivity, but following the university's announcement on their approach to no detriment policies, I was really disappointed in the lack of consideration that seemed to be paid to students from diverse backgrounds, or in situations that meant that the no detriment policies that were proposed are actually catering to them. I was involved in the organisation of the Black Lives Matter march that happened in Truro last year in the summer. I was the co-organiser of that, and I know there's been criticism, such as the article that came out through the Falmouth Anchor of the university's approach to anti-racism and tackling racism.
I've actually wanted to run every single year that I've been here. I definitely have the knowledge of being on campus and being a student, both undergraduate and postgraduate, and also my own experiences of the wellbeing and welfare systems and disabilities and so forth. It's been such a difficult year for everyone that everyone needs to feel more supported and feel like both universities are doing everything they can.
Even though I've been a freshman for a year, the reason why I'm rerunning is because the pandemic has created so many more issues and had a massive effect on the student experience. And I feel that there are many more areas that need more representation, and it feels like the job's not over yet. There's still more to do. I don't feel ready to leave as it is. There's more issues that I want to make they're fixed by the end of the year.
One thing I've really enjoyed about university is being able to see other people from different cultures and different backgrounds and talk to them about what it's like growing up in different backgrounds, how that affects them, and finding ways to make things more accessible and more equal for everyone.
I really enjoyed my time down in Cornwall studying, and I just really want to make a positive impact on future students. I used to be a president of the Meditation Society, and a couple of people came up to me and the committee at the end of the year and said, thank you for running the sessions. It's really helped me out in my final year. So I'd really just like to take another step forward and try and help as many students out as possible.
As a bisexual and strange student, I feel like I can truly identify the areas of the university that need improving. On top of this, I want to work in collaboration with the student voice to give them a platform to be seen and heard, working in collaboration to better everybody's overall university experiences.
I have been working with uni for like past 2 years now. So, I have kind of like connections with the union. I know actually how everything runs. So it's not like if you vote for me, I'm going to have someone clueless on the position. I actually know how kind of everything works. And I have like lots of experience with wellbeing services.
My reason really did come from disappointment and lack of representation. And so in terms of who can represent or who's committed to actually representing the student voice and a variety of lived experiences, I think that maybe I could provide that in a way that's different or more authentic.
I'm actually quite a friendly, approachable person. I've been with the Wellbeing Services for my whole 5 years here. I was a geography subject rep for my year. And I then, for my second, third year, became the chair of our Student Staff Liaison Committee. And when I graduated, I won the award for the contribution to College of Geography and Environmental Science for my student voice work. I've presented and had motions passed at a national level, which are now in a manifesto which is used to lobby government.
I'm confident. I really like working with people. Working with people gives me a lot of energy. I love sharing ideas, and I feel like having done this role for another year, I've got the understanding of how it works behind the scenes. And I love like working as an officer team to represent student voices.
For me personally, I am a woman. So bringing in elements of sexism and how we can work with those areas. Also being someone from the arts is a different background to some other people. I know Amata doesn't have a lot to do with the SU generally. I'm quite passionate about the topics and I'm willing to work quite hard and willing to listen to those who perhaps haven't been listened to before.
As well as being a meditation president, I also used to work at the charity Mind. So I was working at support groups and fundraising and all that kind of thing. So I just really like supporting people and working with all different people. I worked in Kenya just before the pandemic last year. I have experience like with support groups, working with people, supporting people, and I think most importantly actually listening to people.
Not only do I possess the passion to make a change, but I also possess the experience to do so. For example, I've been volunteering with the NSPCC since I was about 13 years old after using their services. Some of my biggest achievements in that role would be attending regional events to raise awareness of the charity's work, speaking at the Houses of Commons to raise awareness of child sexual abuse, and being hand-chosen to attend the Royal Academy of Music to produce a jingle for Childline. I've also met privately with the faces of Childline to discuss how they can better the services of the NSPCC.
I feel like currently because of COVID and like isolation, just kind of everything being online, I feel like many students just feel very isolated, which affects their mental health. I just want to kind of improve that by many ways. So like, as I said, like just improving the mental health services at uni, like just decreasing the wait time because sometimes it might be ridiculous. Also, like, as I said, abolish the limit of the 6 weeks in the counseling because I think that's just not a very good idea. So I kind of want to like push both unis to invest in like well-being apps such as Headspace, which many people know.
Whether it's through reporting instances of racism or feedback on the mitigation policies or feedback on decolonizing curriculum or provisions for disabled students or out-of-term welfare support, things like that, they all have to go through representatives to like varying degrees of success. And I feel like that's something that's a bridge that needs to be created.
Not having that in-person teaching is really affecting a lot of people. I think for me, it would be trying to continue to push for a safety net for students to have less stress about their assignments, because I think if we can reduce that stress, then that automatically makes students' welfare and well-being slightly better. Also making more inclusivity events, making it so that people actually get to speak to other people more.
Number one biggest one is probably mental health right now, especially because of the pandemic. You're like, yes, we've got statistics, we've got people raising their voices, but we need like actions that we can say, you said this, so this is how we fix that issue. We need more action. So I feel like a map where we can identify gaps in different areas, like, oh, is it the waiting time? Okay, let's target that. Let's just specifically work on that. Mental health is such a huge, like, broad issue.
The students coming into the university, will have missed years of education, will have had a disrupted learning experience. And it's about supporting those students, making sure they feel that they are as included as anyone else. Brexit and the changes around regulation there, international students will be finding it slightly more difficult. So being adaptable and being flexible so that we can support our students in the best way possible.
I think at the moment, obviously, things are really tough. Like, we can't meet in person. It's really difficult to make friends. Particularly sort of like first years that have been thrown in this year, they've not necessarily had a chance to actually communicate with people, meet people, socialise like we have done in previous years. I aim to bring in support groups, so there's peer group support and also wellbeing sessions. Each week there'll be sort of managing stress or managing sleep, managing anxiety, all these themes, and they can either be pre-recorded or they can be in workshop format. And these and the support groups can be run either online or in person. The other thing that I'm hoping to do is coming up with a buddy scheme. So it'll be a way to help people make friends. So hopefully what I'm hoping to do is people let me know a couple of things that they're interested in, what they're studying, that kind of thing, and then we can pair up people that have similar interests.
Studies show that 1 in 5 students suffer with some sort of mental health issue, and I'd be working to reduce that number. I've been using mental health services since I was 12 years old and am therefore well acquainted with the flaws of them. Single-handedly, I'm not able to change the entire structure of the mental health sector, but if I was elected President of Welfare and Inclusivity, I would work in collaboration with the students to make mental health resources more accessible on campus by hiring more counsellors and therapists to make the waiting lists shorter, by offering grants to minority groups who may not have support elsewhere, and also by making sure that the EC process no longer requires a doctor's note in circumstances of mental health.
A big thing for me is to try to decrease the student tuition fees for the EU international students, because let's be honest, especially in times of COVID, 18K for tuition fees is a ripoff. And also want to make sure it's inclusive also about different events, organize different events and making them diverse, and also educate others about all the cultures, about all the nations, countries, and religions and sexuality and everything else. I think 2 years ago when Aliga was a president, she was trying to do the period poverty campaign, and there's lots of sanitary products in the issue. And my question is, where were they this year? I don't think anyone should pay money for something they can't really control.
Another thing that I said that I would be quite keen to do is to really better or develop the option to anonymously report things. I think that it's particularly important to have feedback from the BIPOC student communities and from other widening participation students and disabled students. And I think that there needs to be more sensitivity in handling instances of racism, sexism, identity-related harm.
My manifesto is actually quite long. A few of the ones that stand out for me are having walk-through building videos. This is for those with all kinds of disabilities. So physical disabilities who can plan the most accessible route to where they're going to, or those with mental health difficulties such as anxiety, so that they can put themselves slightly at ease, knowing that they know exactly where to go.
One of the things I really want to do is really utilise the Liberation Committee. I think it's such an important part of student representation and it's not used enough. We really want to make more use of it and more regular meetings and get more students involved. We've got the hate crime reporting tool, which is great, but it's that. Therefore, if hate crime happens or hate incidents, we want to kind of create preventatives and teaching tools and things like that. So more workshops, more opportunity for people to kind of come together and talk about it and learn from it. Then we don't need to give people the hate crime reporting tool. Let's give them the workshops so then people don't have to report them in the first place.
At the moment, there can be a feeling of 2 separate universities on a campus. I'd like to make that feel more cohesive, more of a united front, include the local community, making sure that they get access to facilities and feel that supporting us is a benefit to them. But also just in general, making our university feel like a more ethnically diverse, more culturally aware university.
Getting student voices heard. So I know the Liberation Committee are doing amazing things and voices, but just making sure at every level students are involved. So for example, if they're is an incident on campus, like a racist incident or something like that, then making sure that students that are affected, the management involves them, so how they think it should be dealt with.
One of my manifesto points is to set up a support system for Australian students after graduation. This would include workshops, grants, check-ins, etc. to make the transition from graduate into the big wide world a little bit easier. I'd also like to implement some more inclusive practices for accessibility, such as ensuring all live lectures are recorded, captioned and uploaded into the learning space when we begin to return to in-person lectures. Finally, I would like to work with several societies and the university to create and implement an education scheme.
I was thinking about running constant evaluation of the well-being services and actually hosting focus groups with people, so they can actually express what's going well, what's going wrong. I just want to be visible, and I'm gonna try to make appearance everywhere and actually be very accessible for the people.
I'm already a member of the BIPOC community. We've got a team, so I'm quite easy to track down. People can come up to me. I work in the stannery, so they can just tell me anything, or just send me an email. I think that there just needs to be constant communication, asking students whenever a new policy is proposed.
I will have regular drop-in sessions with students. So for Penryn and Wood Lane campus every other week, and then for Truro once a month, just because of distance to travel and so forth, where anyone can come and bring issues or concerns, have a chat about anything to do with welfare and inclusivity, or just have a friendly chat, and then also give them progress. So if it's not able to be resolved straight away, tell them where it's gone to, where it's going to next, and then continue to keep them informed. Or generally, students could always email.
Course reps, but I think part-time officers who sit on council, they play such an important role, and I think last year council's kind of been revamped and fixed, and now that's there, let's really put more energy into it and delegate meetings for officers to go to. They can see what happens on the other side of the fence, and bring students closer to the university. One of my manifesto priorities is in-person networking events. That would be a really good way of really meeting students face to face and getting on the ground of what issues they've been facing.
I've suggested in my manifesto bringing in more reps, so welfare reps specifically. Listening to reps is something that will just give the university that extra edge, being able to directly hear the student voice. We have a lot of societies who represent very specific or quite wide ranges of political thinking, religious beliefs and backgrounds and cultures. Bringing them forward as well, having those presidents of those societies listened to and seen as spokespeople for the wider group that they represent.
As well as listening to reps and things, making sure that students can pop into my office or just pop in, message me on Facebook or email me, just all the time, just making sure that students know that they can come and find me, feel comfortable coming to talk to me, and just making sure that students are always listened to, and they'll always have someone that they can go and talk to on campus.
If I was elected president, my main focus would be listening to the student voice to bring about the change they want to see on campus. I would do this by setting up focus groups where students could come and raise their concerns and creative ideas during these sessions. From that, I could compile all this information and campaign for a better student experience on campus.